Welcome to the J.A.M, everybody. You made it in. You made it in. We are making it through July. Can you believe it's almost August? Oh, my God. It is August 1st, I think sometime next week. Okay, let me look. Okay, after we come back again, that which will be July 30th, 2 days later, it will be August 1st. So we're almost in August. Can you believe that? I'm telling you, before you know it, it will be Christmas, my favorite time of year. And we can't skip Thanksgiving. But I'm so glad you made it in, guys. Welcome to GoGi's After Dinner Jam, the Justice Action Meeting. So glad you chose to be here. There are so many different conference calls. I look at it like a flavor of ice cream, and you chose to be here on the Jam. So I am so grateful for your presence, so grateful for you using your free choice, your free will, which is at stake, by the way, just in case you didn't know. But if you're a TI, a real one, then you really do know. So welcome to the Jam. Welcome to the Jam. You made it in. All right, so we're going to get started. You guys know the routine. I just want to drop a gem on you. And I'm going to label this one Tumultuous Times. Tumultuous Times. Wow, that's a little tongue twister, huh? So I remember after 9/11, people were going around saying, I hope you can hear me, Tom. Let me do a sound check. Tranquility, let me do a sound check. Am I okay? Because I have my earbuds in, and I want to keep them in, but let me know. Is it all right?
No, you sound good.
Oh, great. Thank you. All right. So,
you're welcome. Welcome.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, we after 9/11, people were saying that things would never be the same. And I remember thinking back then in my naivete, right, that of course it will. That's just an exaggeration. Things are going to, this happened, it was very unfortunate. It was evil, and there was fallout from it, but I still believe that things were going to get back to the way it used to be. However, as I started traveling, I saw that certainly was never the same to me. It had a lasting effect, and I believe there are so many other things that have changed forever, not only because of 9/11, but because of other things like this evil targeted individual program that at that time I did not know existed, but I was in it already. So I now know that my life will never be the same. And for many of us, our lives will never be the same. And after this experience, or should I say experiment, my views about everything, about many people, about most people, have changed drastically. Have yours? And although it's very, very sobering, I mean, it's like an eye-opener that you can't believe. If you can see me, I'm like toothpicks in my eyes. Big eye-opener, okay? But in the long run, it's for the better. By us being the forerunners of this experiment, we can become free. And when we become free, we will, of course, be compensated. And we'll also get to decide what we do for the rest of our lives. So from a different vantage point, from a vantage point that has a peek at the evil that exists in the powers that be, of the evil that will come into play, and that the evil times that the Bible speaks about. And so with that, I say we have a choice to see how we bury our head in the sand, or if we do. And by that I mean this. We can either bury our heads in the sand for a season. And that means we just take time to long enough to heal from all of this, heal from the broken relationship, heal from the lost jobs, heal from the betrayal, the stabs in the back, and whatever we went through, hospitalization, being wrongly diagnosed, whatever it was that we went through, the gang stalking, we take time to heal then to rejoice and be grateful for where we are now, and then to regroup. And so that I call burying our heads in the sand for a season. Or we can bury our heads in the sand forever and never face reality again. Just get a small group of people, friends, loved ones, and our money, and just build a life for ourselves and call it a day. And never deal with this mess or any of the big stuff again. Just get our little corner, our little slice of pie, as they say. A little slice of pie, and to stay to ourselves. Or we can never bury our heads. We can just go straight into joy, and I got my money and I got everything is straight. I'm getting everything together and just stay in the mix. Just keep going with our loved ones, our friends, and just going and growing and glowing while we make the transition in motion. Some people will do it that way. What about you? So that's my question today is, will you bury your head in the sand forever, for a season, or not at all? Will you bury your head in the sand forever, for a season, or not at all? I'll give my answer on the end. Welcome to the J.A.M, everybody. So glad you made it in. We're going to open up so we can say hello. Let me say this before we do open up. Please mute yourself if you're in a noisy area. If you have something to say it, and then mute back again. But please do not make it miserable for the rest of us, okay? This is our little corner of the TI community, and we want to keep it pleasant for all. All right, guys. So as we open up, when we're free and you find out, are you going to bury your head in the sand forever, for a season, or not at all? All right. Welcome to the J.A.M. Let's go. Welcome to the J.A.M, everybody. Somebody has a little something squiggly. Please announce yourself, city and state you're from, and are you going to bury your hand forever, for a season, or not at all? We're going to find that noise. Hi, how are you?
Doing good. This is Daniel from Huntsville, Alabama.
Hey, Daniel. Glad you're here.
Yeah, no, I plan to do everything I can and stay involved. So no bury.
Okay. So you're not going to bury it at all. Good for you, Daniel. Good for you. You're going to keep it moving, keep it going. Love that. Go ahead.
This is Darren.
Hi, is that Darren?
This is Darren.
Hi, Darren. How are you? Hi.
I'm doing well, and I will be as active as I can be.
Oh, that's too active. Not at all. Beautiful. Go ahead, Darren. Welcome to the J.A.M. So glad you could make it in.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
Good evening. Good evening, Twinnie.
Good evening.
God bless you. Jesus Christ is still Lord. So I am encouraged tonight that even when it looks like the enemy has the upper hand, we have a God that is still on the throne, still in control, and we have to always look to him, the problem solver, because he is the key for us to getting free. So God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you so much for that, Sister Samia. I'm believing that means that you're not going to bury your head at all. You're just going to keep going.
Amen.
All right, Sister Samia's calls Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, 9 p.m. She's a moderator. Please catch her sometime. Thank you so much, Sister Samia. Someone else is talking. Go ahead, ma'am. Someone else called my name. I don't know who it was.
Hello, this is. Hi, I'm calling from Georgia. Hello.
Hi.
I wanted to speak to what the woman just said about Jesus is still on the throne, because I watch a lot of the Christian television and different things, and there's a great pastor that deceased a couple of years ago, actually recently, Pastor Charles Stanley from a Baptist church here, and he. Of all the people I listen to, he is the one I can just really, really tune into. Anyway, one of his little presentations came on when I needed it, and it was like, the devil only has so much room. I needed to hear that because, okay, God is still in charge. There will be the day when it's let loose and Satan has full reign of the earth, but God is still in charge. And if you can keep that in your mind, you don't have to freak out about what's happening. I mean, it's hard. It is. But I've even been doing that lately. It's like, okay, the devil can only go so far. I mean, this is what this is. But
what's your name, ma'am? What's your name?
Patty. It's Patty.
Patty from Georgia. Thank you for joining the call, Patty. Thanks for joining the jam. All right.
Okay.
And that means that you would not put your head in the sand. Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead. Thank you.
Aussie, I'm here.
Aussie, hi, Aussie. How are you? Welcome to the jam.
I'm sorry, I'm being awkward, but it's like I don't know how to get in because I'm just like, do I talk? Do I not? But I apologize. But yes, thank you for inviting me. I know you always invite me, but I'm like, I don't know how. Like when it comes, and I'm like, I already know I'm gonna get in, and then I forget. Like when it comes 7:00, but you know how this whole situation goes, what they be doing. So. Mm-hmm. It's been a little rough, but I'm getting through it. But praise God, we're hopefully towards the end. I'm just trying to stay strong, and I definitely need to be more involved, and I'm going to try my best to do that, GoGi's.
All right, thank you. So welcome to the jam. Thanks for joining and listen in. Hopefully you will find something that makes you smile, makes you laugh, maybe cry, but it will certainly encourage you, hopefully. All right. Next caller, please. Who else? Anybody else? The question is, when you're free, when you're compensated, will you bury your head in the sand forever for a season or not at all?
Not at all. I'll keep shining light on dark.
All right. Who's that?
Eileen.
Oh, you don't want to say? Eileen, thank you. Welcome to the jam. Thank you for being here. All right, you guys are something else. So I'll take a few more, and then we're going to close down and get ready. We have a jam-packed night as usual. We have a wonderful guest speaker. It's not her first time at the rodeo. She's been here at the jam before, and some news that we want to share and some things. So we're going to get started as soon as we're done. Anybody else?
Hi, GoGi's. Tracy.
Hi, Tracy. How are you?
Good. No, I was putting my head in the sand.
Okay. All right. You're going to keep it moving, too. Go ahead, Tracy. I love it. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for always being here on Tuesday for me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your support. All right. Anybody else, guys? Anybody else?
Hello.
All right. Hi, how are you?
Hi, GoGi. This is Tamara Williams from New Jersey.
Hi, Tamara Williams from New Jersey.
Yes, hello. I've been on your calls a few times, but I just want to say thank you for the awesome work that you're doing. And
my pleasure. This is the first time I'm hearing you. Welcome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Did you want to answer the question or no? That's all. You just wanted to come on. I thank you for talking today, and whatever motivated you, I pray that it continues to do so. All right.
This is Chris from New Jersey.
Hi, how are you? Hi, Beth.
Hi, good. How you doing?
Okay.
A few years ago, I did bury my head in the sand for probably a month or two, and just to pull myself back together. But now I refuse to do that, so I'm just gonna keep fighting.
All right. Go ahead, Beth. Not at all. Wonderful. Thank you for being here, Beth. New Jersey in the house, guys. A few people from New Jersey here tonight. All right.
Hi, GoGi's.
Hi, how are you? I know that voice.
This is Chris from Idaho.
Hi.
I'm going to say, why stop now? I mean, we've been through so much, and I would definitely keep right on going.
All right now. Okay, Chris from Idaho, glad to have you in the house. Thank you for joining the jam.
What was the question?
The question, sir, the question is, once we're free, you are compensated, are you going to bury your head in the sand forever, for a season, or not at all?
There's no reason. I would say not. Don't bury it at all. My name is Leo. I'm from North Hollywood, California. I would say not bury it at all. It's other people that need help. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. So you're gonna be available. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, I hear you saying. I wanted to know, is this a group that's involved in a civil action lawsuit? Sorry, you say what's compensated?
We'll explain that in a minute.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else?
Yes, this is Tanya from Arkansas.
Go ahead, Tanya.
I don't like sand. How y'all doing? I don't like sand. So I definitely won't be burying my head in the sand. I'm going to keep fighting because they're not going to stop doing what they're doing. They've been doing it for years, and it hasn't stopped, so we need to stay on them.
Mm-hmm. All right now. Okay, Warrior Tanya, thank you for that. Okay. All right. Anybody else? We're getting ready to get started. We're getting ready to jam, guys.
Yeah. Just another Jersey in the house here. It's Deborah. How you doing,
Hi, Deborah.
Hi. So after we win our lawsuit and we get our compensation, and we're on the cover of Time magazine for people of the past few decades, I am going to keep on fighting to help all these many other people that will need our help. So our work will just be beginning.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you, Deborah. Okay. All right, let's close it down, guys. Let's close it down. We're going in, and I thank you for joining the jam. So the question, someone did ask if this is where the class action lawsuit, we had attorney Todd Callender, on the call, was it last week or the week before? I cannot remember, I'm sorry. But let me look at my notes. I'm still not sure. So, and he talked about the class action lawsuit. So many of us, yes, have joined and are planning to join. If you have any questions about that, you can ask them at the end. This is GoGi's After Dinner Jam, the Justice Action Meeting. And we're getting ready to delve into some news around the world that impacts TIs. We have a special guest tonight who's going to talk about the FCC and its culpability in terms of this torture program. And that does impact one of the class action lawsuits that we have pending that I know about that's pending. And so we have a few things that we're going to go over. So stay put, stay involved, and let's get busy. Okay. So the first bit of news we have tonight, okay, where's my paper? I did write it like 3 times. Let me see now. Is about Havana syndrome. So we're following the news about Havana syndrome, which is now called anomalous health incident. Dr. Baer calls it something else. I can't remember. I don't want to cite it improperly, but it has to do with the brain and neurological impairment, chronic severe neurological impairment. And but the world hasn't gotten to that point yet. So we're still calling it anomalous health incident. And the powers that be are recognizing only the diplomats for having Havana syndrome. However, we know that targeted individuals, and one of the statements of targeted justice is if you're TI for 6 months or more, most likely, and you're being attacked, then most likely you have anomalous health incident or symptoms of Havana syndrome. So that is our position, and the world is slowly coming around. The next hearing is July 31st, so it won't be by next week, but the following week. So our first Tuesday in August, we'll share the results of that, and also we're going to share some from this recent hearing. Okay, so Lady T, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Away we go. I think I really want to focus on one particular issue to begin with, and I think, Deputy Dixon, I think I'm going to focus with you simply because you come with D&I. What I'm curious
you can't hear it.
Is we're doing our best.
Can't hear it.
In for security clearances and get clearances. And in all branches of government. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we keep these individuals and that they feel that they are appreciated and that their service is meaningful and that basically we have their back. The reason why I lay it out that way is because most recently, for the second time now, on 60 Minutes display, we talked about the AHI, or the anomalous health incidences, in which individual members who are well respected within your community have clearly identified health issues that they attribute to specific identifiable incidences that have occurred. Now, we've had classified briefings on the topic, and I understand that this is a very sensitive area. But I think for the individuals that are outside of those meetings that we have, the individuals that are within the community, I think we should publicly talk about how we are going to address their concerns, and probably to the American people that this is not something which is being ignored or put on the back shelf. Can you share with us, first of all, within your office, who is responsible and accountable for actually chasing down what is going on, and not just simply the fact that we know that these incidences are occurring. There's a recognition of that, and we respect these individuals. But there doesn't seem to be an attribution or a discussion of the attribution which has occurred. Could you, perhaps in this open discussion, at least give us some assurances that this is an ongoing thing that is going to get followed up on?
Thank you, Senator Rounds, and absolutely. Our first priority is taking care of the individuals within our community, so our employees, their family members, whoever is experiencing health challenges as a result of whatever the cause of the thing is. We have, from the top levels of every agency, made sure that it's very clear that whatever they are experiencing should be reported, and once reported, we should do our best to get them the kind of help that they need. If that ends up being a payment out of the Havana Act, that is one route that they can go, but making sure.
Unmuted. Did you, Tranquility, have you heard what I've been saying?
No.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So we couldn't hear Tanya's at all, correct?
No, we could hear it.
Oh, you could hear it? Oh, great.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. What's going on with my sound?
I heard feedback when mine was playing. I could hear it, double back.
Okay, but you played it. Okay, good. All right, are we finished?
Well, she's talking now, the lady from ODIN.
All right. I'm going to have to take my earbuds out. Okay, we're finished with the Havana syndrome? The hearing?
No.
Okay,
you want me to continue?
I'm sorry. Yes,
okay.
Please.
Very serious issue.
It has to be, because the information that we need to collect is collected by different agencies, Different agencies are responsible for different parts of it. The D&I has very clearly stated that it is our plan to not only take care of employees, but to try to close those intelligence gaps that have kept us from being able to do the attribution that you're talking about. So the D&I at the top, OD&I can be in charge.
Okay, so
can't do it.
Within the OD&I, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, somebody has to be the person responsible for accumulating, acquiring, and pushing for this information. I don't need that name here, but is there a person who is responsible for getting this done?
There are different people responsible for different parts. The part of collecting the reports from across the community, yes, there are individuals who do that. The part of making sure that the agencies are out collecting information so we can close those intelligence gaps, yes, we're overseeing that as well. So not one person doing both parts, but because one's focused on the people, and the other one's focused on the adversary or whatever may be causing these things. So
and how about the technical side of this? Is there a person working on the technical side of who is using what type of a weapon system or a technology? Do we have another person responsible for chasing that down as well?
The folks that are overseeing the collection side are also working with those who have the technologies.
So now we're down to just two people basically that are working on this, or that are accountable for putting this all together. And is somebody overseeing those two individuals, or is that directly reporting to OD&I?
Those are, within OD&I, we have individuals overseeing them. So those that are overseeing what's happening in the community with respect to collection, as well as what's overseeing that the guidance that we're putting forth on how to take care of our workforce is being followed. Yes, correct.
So we have one person in charge of each of those two? At some point, somebody's got to be in charge.
I think if you were to ask my boss, Director Haynes, she would say she's in charge. She's the place where it ends. And so by default, I am in charge as well. We will make sure that our communities are doing what we have provided guidance to do, which is to take care of the people and to do our best to close the intelligence.
And I don't mean to belabor this, and I'm already over my time, but it just seems to me that unless there is somebody who's going to look at us and tell us, this is my responsibility, I'm in charge of getting through this thing, I'm responsible for having this thing fixed, then it means that it's going to be on the backside, and it's going to get delayed, and we're not going to get it completed in a timely fashion. I simply bring it to your attention because I think we're going to have to continue to ask that question until we get a direct answer about somebody who is responsible for following this through, just to make sure that those folks out there that are suffering through this and that may be impacted by this in the future know that it is not on the back shelf. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would say Ms. Lorenzo.
Okay, done.
All right, thank you. Very important. What he is pushing for is one person that's responsible for the whole thing, and at OD&I, and he's not getting that answer. I think she mentioned her and her boss, meaning the two of them, working in their communities and being responsible. But he wants one person responsible, and to see who they're going to hold responsible for this. And he also mentioned the weapon system. So he asked about the weapon system, okay? So there's a component of AHI that is dealing with the weapon system. So we're going to keep watching and listening at the hearings because it's going to come out. But my understanding, they're working on dealing with civilians that are impacted by AHI as well. So, of course, we're paying attention to that because that would be us. Okay? Thank you, Lady T. Thank you for that. And sorry for the little confusion in there. I couldn't hear, so it must have been my phone, my technology over here. All right. So the second item that I wanted to bring up is in reference to the FBI, a new post that they put up recently. They put up something not too long ago about the TSDB. And there's all these lawsuits about the TSDB right now. Of course, targeted justice, and I'm going to tell you where that is. Just give a little status report of the target justice lawsuit soon, and then we're going to have the attorney come on next week to talk about it further. And but the FBI, and to me, it's part of the cleanup. And again, this is just my theory. I believe that there's one contingent that are ruthlessly, relentlessly continuing to attack us, gang stalk us, and doing all the evil things that the program has that's a part of the program. But there's another part that's covertly cleaning up stuff. Things are happening in the background. They're doing things to cover theirs, right? CYA. So they're covering up and doing all this stuff. And this could be one of those, all right? I say could be. So the FBI posted something about the TSDB. And the TSDB is dealing with, it tells us the overview of the TSDB, things that the TSDB does do and does not do. So it really makes it, okay, very legitimate. So, of course, it doesn't deal with handling codes 3 and 4 and what they're doing to us. They deal with all this, they make it very legitimate because, what? It's under question. And I'm just reminding us of the fact, and this is just a footnote for our homework, that Elizabeth Warren and a group, it's Greg or Gary Peters and a group, marched in letters to the FBI about the TSDB. And they had really brazen questions about it. And on January 9th, there was a closed meeting held, and the public people, do not have the result of that closed meeting, and we need the result. That was the deadline for the FBI to respond. They had a closed meeting. Nobody came and said anything. What happened at that meeting? What happened at that meeting? That's our question. And I would, we really need to get those answers, and I would want a group of us, we really need to get letters asking what happened at that meeting. We also have Kovac versus Ray, which is still on the table. I believe the oral argument was sometime in March, which would mean we should have a response by now, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. I mean, it's almost August, and there's no response to that case. So that is pending, and that case really challenges the legitimacy of the TSDB, okay, and because it was established by a presidential order, and it should have been an act of Congress, and so it's a very good approach, a very basic, just straight up approach, and so we're looking forward to the result of that, and that could be why that post was there. But I'm going to review the post more thoroughly, hopefully next week. And now, so Chase, are you ready with Verizon Towers? There's something else which I consider an act of cleaning up as well. So are you ready with the article from Verizon Towers, sir? Hello? Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah, I'm ready. Hello? Hello?
Okay. All right, I'm going to read the article. So let's go. 1 second.
Raji, he's here. He's calling your name.
All right, this article is about Verizon. It says Verizon is exploring selling thousands of towers in the U.S. And the article is by Michelle F. Davis and Gillian Tan. It was written July 15th. And here we go. It's from Bloomberg. Verizon Communications, Inc., the biggest wireless carrier in the U.S., is exploring selling thousands of mobile phone towers across the country, according to people familiar with the matter. New York-based Verizon has hired advisors to gauge interest from potential buyers for a package of roughly 5,000 to 6,000 towers, the people said, asking not to be identified, discussing confidential information. A sale could bring in more than $3 billion, one of the people said. Okay, the people said, I guess they're saying anonymous. Deliberations are preliminary, and there's no guarantee they'll result in a sale, the people said. A representative for Verizon declined to comment. Verizon in 2015 sold the rights to lease and operate about 11,000 towers to American Tower Corp. for an upfront payment of $5 billion as part of a deal that helped to raise funds for airwave purchases and to pay down debt. The towers on the block this time around are expected to draw interest from infrastructure firms and strategic buyers, the people said. Okay. Telecom giants have from time to time turned to their mobile phone towers as a way to raise cash. AT&T Inc. agreed in 2013 to sell 9,700 towers to who? Crown Castle International Corp. in a $4.8 billion deal. In that case, AT&T used the funding to begin an upgrade of its network. Okay, so is Verizon selling the towers to Crown Castle is a question, because Crown Castle owns, well, from what we know, are part of a lot of the weaponized towers. Okay. All right, that was the third article, and now we have a video. This video, it deals a little bit about with some of the conspiracy theories, which I tend to stay away from, but this one is relevant. So let's take a listen. Ready, ladies? Lady T, Illuminati bot.
I'm ready.
Okay. Thank you.
To all the people, and this is not just in the United States. This is a global plan to attack and assault with technologies beyond most people's comprehension. One of the things that we want to talk about is what we were discussing a little bit ago, and that is the significance of this NASA war document that was found on the NASA website, and the need to urgently get this out in front of as many people as possible because of the content of this document. By Dennis Bushnell, the chief NASA scientist at the Langley Center, and it was presented in 2001, July of 2001, just a few months before 9/11. It says on the website, Future Strategic Issues, Future Warfare circa 2025. And as I decided to just flip through it quickly to see what it was about, I was a little stunned on page 4. It said, the presentation is based in all cases upon existing data, trends, analysis technologies, no pixie dust. And the entire premise of the document, or the PowerPoint, is about robots, cyborgs, and humans. So I immediately saw, well, again, the Illuminati, the most wealthy, rich men on the face of the planet, always telegraph everything that they're going to do. So the fact that it was on the NASA website, it was certainly available to the public, but did they see it? Obviously not. And what it said, which was quite shocking, on page 93, it said, capture, torture Americans in living color on prime time. And that is an unbelievable statement. Then it's followed up by saying terror attacks within the continental United States using binary biologicals take down critical infrastructure. They are going to use an EMP, which is an electromagnetic pulse. They're going to use radiation frequencies against our brains, etc., and conduct serious cyber and collateral damage and exploitation. On the same page 93, they say exploit CNN syndrome. Now, CNN, of course, is the network, the news media network, propaganda machine, and was set up by the CIA. You can watch the movie called Cyber on stopthecrime.net for all the background information on CNN. Very, very interesting information. Then you go on and you read that on page 66, they say increasingly critical are human limitations and human downsides. Humans are too large. Humans are too heavy, too tender. Humans are too slow, both physically and mentally. And we require huge logistical trains, meaning we cost way too much money to maintain. And humans have rapidly decreasing to negative value. Can you even believe this? I mean, you're hearing this, and it's got to be rather shocking coming off of a NASA website, particularly when some of the agencies that are involved are the U.S. Air Force, DARPA, the CIA, the FBI, Southern Command, Atlantic Command, Australian Department of Defense, and other agencies. This is the corporation's agencies. We are USA Inc. We're no longer under a constitution as proclaimed in the Iron Mountain Report, which everyone should read. On stopthecrime.net, you can download it not only as the document, but you can watch the documentary, which I highly recommend. You will see how the stealth and deceptive, incrementally positioned attacks upon the Constitution have rendered us now a corporation, and we no longer have a legitimate government. We are being controlled by corporations and banks that are posing as a legitimate government, and they're not. We wouldn't have a legitimate government with the war machine stating what they were going to do on the continental United States to all the people. And this is not just in the United States. This is a global planned attack and assault with technologies beyond most people's comprehension. Everyone is buying books and guns and ammunition, and they don't realize that the beam weapons, for example, on page 45, beam weapons increasingly prevalent. This is how they're going to attack. They talk also about, on page 9, this is very interesting and horrifying. Humans have taken over and vastly shortened evolution. They're going to direct evolution. They believe, the bankers, the global elites, believe that they have accomplished immortality. And they're doing that, again, keeping in mind that this entire document is about robots, cyborgs, and humans. They've already mapped our brains. We've just recently heard that they can transfer a human brain into machinery. So whenever they tell us that this is a new scientific discovery, we know it's been decades and decades prior to us ever finding out about these things. And they also talk about microdust as a weapon. They say that this micron-sized mechanized dust, which is distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into the lungs, the dust mechanically bores into the lung tissue and executes various pathological missions. They say it's a completely new type of warfare, and it is legal. It's legal. This is what they're going to do to all the humans on the face of this planet. It's all legal. And then they talk about how the use of frequencies will be used in warfare. And we know, for example, the smart meters that are being deployed around the globe, the replacement of our electric meters, which will also and does include the replacement of all of our gas meters and our water meters as well, and will be connected to our food supply when they collapse and they issue energy allowances, and that will all be controlled through the metering system. But they talk about the use of low frequencies, microwave frequencies, and they mention in this NASA document the U.S. Army report. The U.S. Army report is on our website, smartmetersmurder.com. It's about a 20-page Army document that talks about the use of frequencies to target the enemy. We're the enemy. And they say 100% of the human population will be affected by these frequencies. Some will be the canaries in the coal mine, which is a term that they've been using as people have been dropping like flies. People are experiencing all kinds of health maladies. Generally, it starts with ringing of the ears, heart palpitations, skin rashes, inability to sleep through the night. And what they're doing is they're jamming our immune systems with these frequencies.
So how do the elite shield themselves from their own weapons?
Well, that's a really good question. And some of the information that we've come across is, of course, they have methods far ahead of anything that we have available to ourselves, such as cancer cures. They don't get cancer. There's chip mechanisms that we understand can send off certain frequency attacks. We also know that they're interested in transhumanism. So much of what they're doing globally, they're interested in. And to what extent they're affected by all of the chemtrails and all of the nanofibers that are being dropped, which is phase 1 of the first protocol. It all lines up. Everything lines up. You connect the dots. You see the NASA war document. Not only does it talk about the effects of frequencies and how it will be used, they acknowledge that it will interfere with our performance, that it will cause seizures. They acknowledge this in this document. It is no longer a debate about smart meters. We don't need any more scientists or doctors saying people are getting sick. This is the intention. So we have to stop looking for more verifiable proof that people are becoming sick. This is the goal. This is the absolute goal. It's
Okay, thank you. So you can hear how critical it is. We know that we are TIs, but this is talking about rolling it out, the things that they want to roll out across the nation. And when she talked about they, she mentioned they equal the bankers and global elitists. Right? So, and it's very funny. We humans are too large, too expensive. We have negative value. Like we're worthless. So, if anybody would like to continue listening to this and other things like it, stopthecrime.net. She recommended the Iron Mountain Report, and also to know how CNN was formed and the kinds of things that they get involved with. So very important to know, I guess where this world is going. And when we do become free and we are compensated, these are the kinds of things that will still be the actions and things that will be happening. And since we are awake and we realize what's going on, we become the forefront, the forerunners of this, and we know better how to protect ourselves. And remember, people will not want to believe this. That's conspiracy theory. That's this or that's that. But even with the smart meters, they're using the smart meters to try to control our food. I won't even tell my story about that, but yeah, it's if you can resist and request and get an analog meter, do so. That's the story there. Okay, so now the other part is we want to take a commercial break, and then we want to talk about some people are getting government phones, and they're free. Well, you know what they say, right? Nothing in life is really free. So we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back. And then, Lady T, you could take us straight into the quick video about the government phones.
Are you feeling like something strange is happening in your life? You tell others, but nobody believes you? Well, get ready to uncover the truth with GoGi Justice's groundbreaking book, GoGi's 10 Signs Which Indicate You're a Targeted Individual. GoGi Justice, an everyday person just like you, has written a book that exposes the covert illegal activities happening right under our noses. With a writing style that's raw, honest, and relatable, GoGi takes you on a journey through the dark world of targeted individuals. You'll ask yourself if you are experiencing these signs. Learn about infiltration, gang stalking, privacy violations, and even hacked home appliances. GoGi's book is a beacon of hope, providing encouragement, tips, and resources for those who find themselves trapped in this nightmare. It's time to fight back and regain control of your life. So if you're tired of feeling isolated, unheard, and targeted, grab a copy of GoGi's 10 Signs which indicate you're a targeted individual. Available now on Amazon.com and the Targeted Justice Etsy shop. Don't let them silence you any longer. Take the first step towards understanding, empowerment, and freedom. Get your copy today and join the movement. GoGi Justice's book, A Voice for the Targeted Individuals.
All right, Lady T.
$30 million government-funded cell phone radiation study shows clear evidence of cancer. A couple decades ago, the FDA commissioned what was to become the longest, largest-scale study ever done on the safety of cell phone radiation. The study was designed by the National Toxicology Program, a United States government agency that's a branch of the National Institute for Health and connected to the FDA and CDC. It took over 15 years to complete the study and publish the results, which came out in 2018. These results seem to be an unpleasant surprise to every government agency involved. After a peer review panel of pathologists and toxicologists reviewed the study and all of its details, their verdict was that there is clear evidence of carcinogenic activity from cell phone radiation. The NTP uses 5 classifications to determine the level of carcinogenicity, and clear evidence is the strongest of the 5. The panelists unanimously praised the design and execution of the study. It was thorough and by the books. The specific findings of the study, which was done on rodents and carefully adjusted so the results could easily be applied to humans, found several forms of cancer in the male rodents and DNA damage in both males and females. In the males, they mainly found 2 rare types of cancer, schwannomas of the heart and gliomas of the brain. These same rare cancers have been found in epidemiological studies previously done on humans exposed to cell phone radiation. Gliomas are a particularly deadly form of cancer. All the tumors were in the male rats, but both the males and females showed indications of precancerous conditions and DNA damage. These multiple negative effects occurred in the exposure group, with no effects in the control group. Everyone expected this study to be negative, said a senior government radiation official who asked to remain anonymous. This statement may explain why this massive, flawlessly designed, government-funded, government-executed study has since been swept under the rug and dismissed by all agencies involved, even after spending $30 million in taxpayer money to execute the study for the sake of public health. Now the FCC and the FDA, and even the NTP itself, are significantly downplaying the results, stating that these results in rodents cannot necessarily be applied to humans. The whole study was designed and executed exactly so that the results could apply to humans. According to a report on the FDA's website, after reviewing the study, we disagree, however, with the conclusions of their final report regarding clear evidence of carcinogenic activity in rodents exposed to radiofrequency energy. The FDA is disagreeing with the verdict of a group of actual scientists and expert toxicologists, with no valid explanation for their opinion. Do you ever wonder if these agencies might be a little bit biased, or maybe even bought out by the industry itself? This is just one of the thousands of studies that have shown the biological effects of electromagnetic fields. With the dangers of EMFs becoming widely known, many attempts to prevent these harmful effects are being explored. There are blocking and shielding devices, passive devices like pendants and crystals, and impractical or impossible attempts to remove technology from your life. The most comprehensive EMF protection solution is to generate a field that's based on the infinitely varied and highly structured fields found in nature, but at a higher amplitude, so the body's cells can perceive and entrain with this field over the harmful EMFs. BlushShield EMF protection has been clinically proven to improve a wide variety of health markers, including cognitive function, blood glucose levels, sleep quality, and heart rate variability. In fact, BlushShield is the first EMF protection technology on the market to demonstrate a statistically significant improvement in the function of the body's own voltage-gated calcium channels, which is the primary upstream mechanism of biological effects from EMFs, according to cutting-edge research. Go here to learn more about BlushShield technology and how it can help us thrive in the modern world. As an Epic Times subscriber, You get 10% off any home and portable blush filter.
Okay. Thank you for that information. That was from the Epic Times. So there was a study, and in the mice, they found that they were carcinogenic. So if you have the government cell phone, if you have to use it, then absolutely there are precautions you should take, like, keeping it away from your ears or your face or your body, keeping it in something that, reduces the EMF, and just to take those precautions and to know that this exists. So I would review the study if you have to have a government cell phone and see what precautions you can take, and if there are none, then you may want to get rid of it. All right, so, okay, we're going to move to our last article, and that's Major P. Major P, I hope you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
Inside America's sensitive $2 million research hub, collecting fingerprints from Facebook, hacking smartwatches, and fighting COVID-19. MITRE Corporation runs some of the U.S. government's most hush-hush science and tech labs. The Cloak and Dagger R&D shop might just be the most important organization you've never heard of. Whether it's an invisible Aston Martin or an exploding pen, whenever James Bond needs a high-tech edge, he heads right for Q and his secretive M16 lab. In the real world, American agents often rely on a less clandestine but far better funded group. Armed with 8,000 employees and an annual budget of between $1 billion and $2 billion of taxpayers' money, MITRE Corporation, a government skunk works, has been making bleeding-edge breakthroughs for U.S. agencies for more than 6 decades. With its HQ housed in 4 towers atop a hill in McLean, Virginia, MITRE's research centers employ some of the nation's leading computer scientists and engineers to build digital tools for America's top military, security, and intelligence organizations. Among the government's wilder MITRE orders, a prototype tool that can hack into smartwatches, fitness trackers, and home thermometers for the purposes of Homeland Security. Software to collect human fingerprints from social media, websites like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for the FBI. Support in building what the FBI calls the biggest database of human anatomy and criminal history in the world, and a study to determine whether someone's body odor can show they're lying. These varied multi-million-dollar projects revealed in hundreds of pages of contract details obtained via Freedom of Information Act requests, as well as interviews with former MITRE executives and government officials, provide just a glimpse into this sprawling contractor's secretive world. MITRE's influence goes far beyond its vast tech development. It's also a major consultant for myriad government agencies on how best to deploy tech and policy strategies. Its latest gig, helping the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, and Homeland Security, ominously named Countering Weapons of Mass Destruction Office Craft Sweeping Plans for Curtailing the COVID-19 pandemic. If there's a national security or public interest problem, MITRE probably has a hand in it, says former MITRE cybersecurity engineer Matt Eadman. Bald, bearded, and baritone-voiced, Eadman could have worked at his pick of hot Silicon Valley tech companies, but instead focused his talents on challenging national security problems. During his time at MITRE, Eastman partnered with the FBI, using his hacking skills to help take down the infamous Silk Road dark web drug bazaar. Shortly after he left MITRE, he was allowed to finish the job in October 2013 and was in Reykjavik, Iceland, alongside FBI agent J.A.M to shutter the site run by the Dread Pirate Robert, real name Ross Ulbricht, who is now serving a life sentence. Edmonds was also at MITRE when it helped the FBI hack and monitor users of multiple child exploitation sites as part of Operation Torpedo, and what then Attorney General Loretta Lynch hailed as a landmark dark web investigation. The prospect of law enforcement agencies being able to cheaply, easily, and quickly obtain people's fingerprints off of a social media is extraordinarily chilling. MITRE's history is full of such uncredited public service. As its promo material says, you may not know it, but MITRE touches your life most every day. Wanting to know the extent of MITRE's touch, Forbes launched an investigation to pull MITRE's staggering range of work from the shadows. What we found is an elite institute that has proved a major boon to the U.S. government, providing tools for surveillance of criminals, diseases, and immigrants illegally trying to enter the country. But some of the same projects are setting off alarm bells among human rights organizations and privacy advocates like the ACLU, which are concerned about surveillance overreach from MITRE's sophisticated technology. Despite multiple requests to meet with MITRE executives in person and visit its headquarters, MITRE declined to provide comment for this article. The FBI and DHS acknowledge requests for comment but have not provided any. Few have heard of MITRE or know of its mission, despite its vital importance to the security of the nation. Even locals who live near its large office complex often have no idea it's been such a stalwart supporter of American national security and defense over the last 6 decades. It was just miles away from where I was living and had been there since the mid-50s, says Sean Vale, who went to the campus for the first time for a job interview in 2008. I'd never heard of it. Vale ended up working on cybersecurity for the Air Force and looking for security issues in Google's Android operating system during his 5 years there. While out of the public eye, MITRE's history is remarkable. The nonprofit company was born out of the Cold War, spun out of perhaps the world's most famous tech campus, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The MIT acronym provides MITRE the first half of its name. In the late 1950s, facing the threat of a Soviet nuclear strike, the U.S. Air Force called on MIT to help it create an air defense system that would help it detect incoming bombers. The Institute came up with the semi-automated ground environment, SAGE. The system combined radar, radio, and network communications to detect incoming enemy aircraft, alert and continually update nearby Air Force bases, which would scramble jets to intercept approaching threats. It was the first air defense system of its kind in America, and MITRE was founded by MIT administrators in 1958 to manage SAGE and its future development. DHS has asked MITRE to help build an enduring national capability to contain COVID-19.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Major P. So anyone who wants the full article, you can check that out. But the main point we wanted to get there is that they can get your fingerprints from social media, and that is very important. So we need to find ways to safeguard from that. And I believe one of the statements said that they can also hack your smartwatch. So all these smart tools and all these things that we put in our homes and wear on our bodies that are so very convenient, it's also very invasive, and they can be used against us. So we need to be aware of that, especially TIs, okay, and later everybody. All right, so thank you so much, Major P. Thank you, everybody. All right, so that was our final news article. We're going to take a commercial break, and we have a little tribute to Robert Duncan, which we will continue this month, and we're looking at one of the whistleblowers, and then we're going to get ready for the Lady of the Hour, our welcome back to my Betty Do. All right, so let's take a commercial break, and then Sir Dan, get ready with the read about the whistleblower. Okay, go ahead, please.
Are you a targeted individual looking for support and connection? Look no further than TIEvents.org, the ultimate event site for targeted individuals worldwide. Discover a wide range of upcoming events, from conferences and meetups to rallies and fundraisers. Connect with like-minded individuals, participate in informative conference calls, and explore a wealth of resources. Visit TIEvents.org today and join a thriving community of targeted individuals. Together, we can make a difference. TIEvents.org, empowering targeted individuals worldwide.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, don't forget to go to TIE Events. Don't forget to pick up your copy of the book, and we have some other things coming up. So let's get ready. Sir Dan, are you ready? We want to hear about this whistleblower. It was a while ago, but we're gonna just start reading his story, and because he was so brave, I'll let you do it, Sir Dan. Go ahead, please.
All right, thank you. As FBI whistleblower Terry Albury faces sentencing, his lawyers say he was motivated by racism and abuses at the Bureau. Burhan Mohammed was home alone one afternoon in July 2016 when two FBI agents knocked on his apartment door in the West Bank neighborhood of Minneapolis and asked to be let in. They wanted to talk to him, they said through the door, about radicalism in the community. In 3 days, Muhammad was set to co-host a community event about the government's controversial Countering Violent Extremism program, which many in Minneapolis' large Somali American community saw as surveillance and harassment of Muslims under the guise of outreach. Some of Muhammad's friends had already received visits from the FBI, and he knew they were on a quest to recruit informants. Without opening the door, he took his phone and started recording. "You got a warrant?" he asked. "We don't need a warrant," one of the agents replied. "You could just make this easier or make this hard." "I was really nervous," Muhammad told The Intercept during a recent interview. "I'm thinking they could knock the door down, they could plant something, I could be set up. The power they held over the situation is what scared me. They could literally do anything to me." Muhammad, invoking his constitutional rights, refused to let the agents in. "It's kind of scary to have two white guys coming into the neighborhood looking for people," he told them. "I'm not white, brother," one of the agents replied. That agent, who only told Muhammad his name was Terry Albury, a 17-year veteran of the FBI and the only black agent in the Minneapolis field office. Last April, Albury pleaded guilty to 2 federal charges of violating the Espionage Act after he was accused of taking dozens of FBI documents, including several that were classified, and leaking some to the press. Court documents filed against Albury did not identify the news outlet he was accused of leaking to, but reports linked the charges to a series of stories published by The Intercept regarding secret guidelines for the FBI's use of informants, surveillance of journalists, and other topics. And that's all we have for this week. Next week, we'll be going over the sentencing.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Dan. That's Terry Albury, whistleblower from the FBI. All right. Thank you so much for beginning that story. And now we want to do a brief tribute to Robert Duncan. We just want to listen to, there's an interview with him and Jesse Ventura. And there were some statements he made at the very end of the interview. So we're going to have Lady T play that, and then Liliana, if you can read, I know he did, one of the TIs, Ralph, asked a question, and we want to listen to just the question that Ralph asked and Robert Duncan's response. Okay, so first the video clip, and then Liliana, thank you for being ready. All right, go ahead, Lady T. I can't hear. I can't hear. Is it me?
I've empowered the dark side by some of my work. Technology is neutral. It can be used for good. I've worked on projects for the CIA, Justice Department, Department of Defense. When you work for the CIA and when you work for the government and all the sensitive areas, what did you do and where did you work? That's sensitive information. I can't tell you that. Is this the stuff, voices in the head and things like that? Yes. This guy looks nervous. He should be. But he also looks like he wants to get some stuff off his chest. I've run into a few people that claim they got voices in their heads, they sleep inside tinfoil boxes, they do a lot of crazy things, it seems. But when they talk to us, they seem totally normal. They seem totally sane. Are these people crazy, or is the government doing this to them? The government's doing this to them. He's not even bothering to hide it. They're called voice and dog weapons. So you know for a fact that these weapons that you worked on, they're being used domestically today? Absolutely. You have to remember the CIA has a long history of experimenting on our citizens from LSD. Sure. Okay, we're talking here like going back to MK Ultra and all that in the 60s and 70s. We were told all that stopped. Is that untrue? Untrue. These programs continue under new names, new budgets. It's the ultimate weapon. To your knowledge today, are there citizens of this country that are being abused with this technology? Worse than abused, that's a light word. They're being tortured. So the targeted individuals aren't crazy after all. I knew it. Now it's a matter of how they do it. Okay, doctor, to deliver this, how do they get into your head? I've heard of these wind towers. They allegedly were used before. Now they claim that they're not used for anything. They do match up with the properties and necessary capabilities. They easily could be broadcasting across the country messages to people and causing them extreme pain. That's part of the whole world domination strategy. Control the population from subconsciously to consciously. And now we've got a motive. Controlling dissenters, controlling the world, controlling humanity. Who are the controllers? I mean, is that our president? The Federal Reserve? No. So these are people within our government at a certain level making these decisions, and they're not necessarily our president or our elected officials. That's exactly right. Wow. That makes it even more difficult because they can't be removed. They can't be removed, and they're difficult to find. They hide in the dark crevices. You worked for these people. You worked on this. You helped to develop it. I was naive. I did not know how the technologies were going to put together and the ultimate weapon created. You're not still working for it. You're unequivocally looking me right in the eye right now, and you're telling me you have no more to do with this, and that you're out to expose it. That's correct, sir. Did you fear for your life? No. You know why? I just don't fear death. With your background and what you know, can you give us a hint on what we ought to do? No. Is it too late? I actually believe it's too late. So what you're telling me, every one of us should be in fear of this because every one of us at some point will be targeted? The technology's advanced that far. One of the men behind the technology admits he created a monster. I'm experimenting control. I've gone out of control. What's worse, there's no telling how far it can go. Or if it can ever be stopped. They're not crazy. Remember that. These people who hear voices in their heads, who say they're being harassed by the government, a lot of them aren't crazy. We heard it from the source. The man who went from Harvard to the CIA and helped develop the technology. He claims he's not working for them anymore, but he says the conspiracy lives on, and he says there's no way to stop it. Well, I don't buy that. We've shined a light on these rats, and now that we did, remember, you've got a voice too. We all do, and they can be the loudest of all. I'm Jesse Ventura, and this is Conspiracy Theory.
Thank you for that, Lady T. I clearly heard the end. I'm sorry if you were having a difficult time hearing it, but that was an interview with Jesse Ventura and Robert Duncan. Robert Duncan said he doesn't fear death, so he doesn't fear for his life, and he was brave enough to state the statements that he made there. Really good interview if you ever want to look it up on Jesse Ventura's website. All right, thank you. And Liliana, if you could read your portion, and then we're going to get ready for our guest. I just want to give a brief update of the lawsuit and an invitation for some parents, and then to Betty Doo. All right, go ahead, Liliana.
Okay. Last November, on November the 3rd, Ralph, a TI colleague from New Jersey, sent a short email to Robert Duncan to remind him of a statement that he had made. So here is what Ralph said to him in this email. My name is Ralph. I am a targeted individual. I have some questions. You said on Dr. Len Burr's call in July 2023 that when public awareness reaches 8%, that the TI program will be revealed. Is it the actual program or just the technology? Also, on Roy Ukap's interview in England with targeted individuals, about 3 months ago, a woman who was a targeted individual said that you told her that between 2025 and 2030, that the targeted individuals' artificial intelligence data would be gathered up and processed, and the program would end. Is this true? Thank you. So here's what the same day Robert Duncan replied. And he put as a subject in his email, Dr. Duncan to Ralph, he put in the subject, reference targeted individual program technology made public between 2025 and 2030. And Dr. Duncan said, I said in 2025, the technology will be ready for the public to believe. And neuroweapons awareness in all their varieties and forms will gain public attention without silent death to those who discuss them. That 8% mark will be achieved. However, it still takes the public to care, act, etc., to do anything about it. World War III will change. He says World War III will change those plans and in fact make the public desire such capabilities and change. That is what he said.
Thank you so much. Well read, Liliana. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Thank you for reading that. Yeah, and it is 2025, so he's saying that we are now ready to, the public is now ready to believe that these weapons exist. And now the question becomes, what will we do about it? So it's almost 2025, and we see a lot going on. We hear a lot of scuttlebutt, and we see a lot of things happening, things that we believe are exposing this evil. So just get ready. Just get ready, be brave, be strong, and let's just be ready for it. Okay, thank you again for that, Liliana. We will continue to reveal some of the things that Dr. Duncan, the late, great Dr. Duncan, has said. All right, we want to move now. I want to just share something before we introduce something. I can't. I'm sorry.
No, a quick remark about this 8%. I asked him about it in that interview, and he said that we are reaching a 70% mark in the interview he had in July of 2023. So we're close then to the 8% mark of awareness.
All right. Thank you, Liliana. All right, guys. I just don't want to belabor anything because I want to keep it moving because we want to get our guest speaker up. All right. So now I want to share the targeted justice lawsuit has been filed with the Supreme Court. So those of you who know how to pray, any intercessors, anyone who knows how to do spiritual warfare, now is the time, because we are facing corruption in high places. We are facing spiritual wickedness in high places. This lawsuit, we need it to stand. It represents us all, although there are 18 plaintiffs, guys. I hope you understand. I mean, on the J.A.M, we should, if no one else does, as much as we talk about the plaintiffs, as much as we read them and talk about them representing their templates, we are to find out which ones we represent, because when it prevails, that's what you will take with your legal documents, and we're going to talk about legal documents with Betty Doo, to your lawyers so that you will have your lawsuit. So although those 18 will benefit from it first, those who register as interested persons will be involved, because if given the opportunity, Attorney Anna Toledo will go in the back and find out when you were put on the TSDB, and when and who put you in there. So those are the questions that's being asked. This lawsuit needs to live, breathe, and prevail. So the following, I want to read the first page of the question which is being presented to the Supreme Court. So let's take a listen. And again, those of you who know how to intercede, begin interceding for the success and for the favorable report of the judges, the 9 judges that will decide on this case. Hold on. Let's go. So this is the question presented. The no-fly and selectee list of the terrorist screening database, the TSDB, known as Handling Codes 1 and 2, make up the terrorism watch list that maintains the names of alleged known and suspected terrorists. There are 2 additional subcategories within the TSDB Handling Codes 3 and 4 that contain the identities of hundreds of thousands of U.S. citizens labeled as suspected terrorists, despite respondents' acknowledgement that they do not pose a threat to national security. Without due process or redress mechanism for removal therefrom, individuals who do not meet the reasonable suspicion terrorist criteria are permanently placed on these subcategories. Petitioners sought declaratory judgment and injunctive relief challenging their inclusion on the TSDB, requesting the court to order the removal of their names therefrom. The district court dismissed with prejudice the complaint for lack of subject matter jurisdiction. That means it was fantastical in their eyes. The Court of Appeals affirmed. The question presented is this: whether this court's holding in Fed Bureau of Investigation versus Fickrey warrants reversal of the Court of Appeals decision affirming the district court's dismissal with prejudice for lack of subject matter jurisdiction, deeming fantastical and frivolous petitioners' complaint challenging respondents' unlawful practice of permanently placing them and hundreds of thousands of U.S. citizens who the government admits do not meet the reasonable suspicion terrorist criteria and do not represent a threat to national security or aviation. On the TSDB's Handling Code 3 and 4, devoid of any substantive or procedural due process or redress mechanism to be removed therefrom. Plainly stated and submitted to the Supreme Court and waiting for response. So those of you who know how to pray, please pray. Everybody else, be excited. We have the paperwork is filed to the Supreme Court. Thank you, Targeted Justice. Thank you, Anna Toledo, for your hard work. And we are looking forward to hearing you next week here on the J.A.M. All right? Also, there's an invitation that was sent out for any parents of children who have V2K. Parents of children who have V2K, they want us to start a group or a call or some meetings. So if you have children with V2K, I mean, it's got to be very disheartening, very, emotional. So there will be people that you can talk amongst yourselves about it. All right, so please reach out to Targeted Justice. I believe the email is targetedjustice2@proton.me. All right, and now we're going to take a commercial break, our final break, with the commercial for the Colorado rally. If you've registered and didn't pay yet, then there's going to be a link sent to you this week. Please click on the link and make your registration fee payment. And if you haven't registered, you're late. All right, so get on in there. They said be there or be square. So all roads lead to Colorado, August 28th through the 30th, which includes TI World Day. On that day, there will be a social gathering at night. They'll be working the day on Friday, and I hope to see you guys there. All right, and so now we're going to have a commercial, and then we're going to hear from, back by popular demand, Betty Doo.
Attention targeted individuals. Don't miss the largest TI awareness event ever organized, the Targeted Action 2024 rally in Colorado Springs, hosted by Targeted Justice. This incredible event starts on Wednesday, August 28th, and spans 2 days with an optional third day. On day 1, we have the Brotherly Love TI Meetup. The theme is Plan for Peace, a chance to connect, share, and envision a peaceful future together. Then on TI World Day, August 29th, the action begins. First, we'll distribute awareness flyers at key locations during the Targeted Action 2024 morning awareness event, followed by a powerful rally. In the afternoon, we'll unwind and strengthen our bonds at the Surviving and Thriving TI Cookout. Registration is just $25, a small price to pay to be part of this historic event. Show your support by purchasing exclusive Targeted Action 2024 merchandise. For more details and to sign up, visit the Targeted Action 2024 tab at targetedjustice.com or the TI Rallies section at tievents.org. We'll see you in Colorado for Targeted Action 2024.
All right. I'm trying my earbuds again. All roads lead to Colorado, August 28th through the 30th. Go to targetedjustice.com, click on the tab Targeted Action or TI Events, especially if you want to share a ride. There's a ride share there, and check out the lodging, check out all the events and things, and make sure you make it there. All right, Betty Do, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right. So glad you could make it here. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your support. You are a Jamster from the beginning, so we're always happy to have you back here. As you know, I just want to tell everybody that Betty Do has done some classes with many of us about the FCC, and that was in preparation for a tentative lawsuit that Targeted Justice wants to forge in reference to the cell tower. So we're talking about that, and I'm aware of CIS that they're working with a law firm against the FCC, and so I want to get you in touch with them as soon as possible. Betty Do. In the meantime, I want to ask you a little bit, I want to start a little bit personal first, if you don't mind. And can you tell us a little bit about how you became targeted?
Well, my life changed when I went through a divorce, and to get me off the property so the court didn't have to maintain status quo, I was falsely arrested and imprisoned. And when I left the jail, I had a lesion on my tailbone that I still have today, and it's been like 16, 17 years there. And then about 3 or 4 days later, I felt like I was in a hurricane evacuation route, and it wasn't even hurricane season, so I was very fascinated by the traffic. But my targeting started with the Hardin County Sheriff's Department in Koontz, Texas, in the 356th District Court there at the courthouse. As I fought them, I gained knowledge, and I learned how to fight them. And GoGi has been a wonderful help in helping me understand with the information that she brings to the show. But before then, I had a normal life. I was a happy person. I had businesses, and, everything that you strive for so that you can have something in your old age. And that's all been taken away from me. We are all just one step away from homelessness. And the road I have traveled has been horrendous. But I'm proud to say I'm still here today, and I'm gonna remain here, and I'm gonna keep fighting them.
Yes. Yeah, sad to hear that. But I've heard quite a few times from women and some men that through a divorce they end up somehow on this list and in the database. So let me ask you, how did you find out that you were a targeted individual?
Well, it really came by accident. As I fought the sheriff's department, I knew I was being affected by frequency and by automobiles. And so I'm under the impression that they were shooting me with like a radar gun or, the things that detect your speed. I had thought that they had abused me with that to the point where I had become environmentally hypersensitive. And one day I'm on the phone with a lady from the FCC, and I'm asking her if the Lumberton Police Department, who has a tower on their property 2 blocks from me, if maybe they were overamping their tower. And she was very nice and cordial, and she told me, she said, even if there are, there's nothing we can do about it. And we hung up. And it was about 7 o'clock my time, my phone rings, and it's the lady that I talked to from the FCC. And she wanted to ask me some questions, and I answered them. And one of her questions was, have you ever overslept or woke up groggy? And I said, it's strange you should ask me that, because I told my daughter, if I didn't know better, I would swear somebody chloroformed me. And she put me in touch with a man named John Mecca in Buffalo, New York. And she also told me that I was not environmentally hypersensitive, that I had been implanted, which I do believe that I was implanted when I was in the Hardin County Jail, because I left with that lesion, and that's the highest point on my body receiving frequency. So I'm under the belief that they had a paramedic or a doctor or somebody come in the jail while I'm asleep and implant me there. So it just kind of went on from there. When she told me that I had been implanted, well, then I started researching implants. But it wasn't until I moved to Florida and I met Johnny Ali, and they introduced me to the TI community. And I was just so elated. I had to call my daughter back in Texas and say, I know who I am now. I know what I am. I'm a TI. And it just totally changed my life. And then that was when I started really diving into who was doing this. I started paying attention. And what I noticed was I had universities on me. I had a lot of disabled vets on me. I couldn't go anywhere without a cop. I used to tell people I had more fuzz on my tail than a rabbit. So it was just one step led to another, which led me to Melinda Kidder and to Dr. Staninger. I went through their protocol, and Dr. Staninger showed me how to do certain things at the FCC, and then I just kind of self-taught myself and expanded on other avenues, which led me to how to document the crime that was taking place by the FCC. So I consider the FCC a conduit for the weapons attacks, because we all know the chips work off of frequency, and so does the weapons.
Okay, so stop right there for 1 minute. I just want to backtrack 1 minute. First, I want to say that it's funny. You said, I know what I am now. And I just think about that, because there could be some new people here on the call that, it is a bittersweet moment when you find out that you're a TI. We understand the bitter because it's, it's a very, a difficult life. And it's kind of rough, dealing with the assault and all of the things that are thrown our way. But it is sweet in that we know that we have a community. We have that, at least we know what we're going through. Some people live and die and never know. And we have support because we have one another. And so it's important for us to stay together as a community. It's important for us to work together and to, like you were saying before, my Betty do, is to provide information for one another and help one another through this. So you're also one of the most documented TIs in the land that I know. and it is from what you did get from, thank God you met up with Dr. Staninger and Melinda Kidder, and you went further because you were also trained by them and you learned how to do the protocol. So that is some of the things that you shared with many of us. You've trained quite a few of our people, and there were a few people that I promised that you would do one more class with, and we never got to that class. So remember, those people, please know that you're still on the list. I still have your names, and you will be trained, and we will continue moving forward with that, especially when if we decide to pick up this lawsuit. All right, but even if we don't, it's helpful because it's helpful for your evidence as you document what's going on in your body and understand the FCC's role. Okay, now I'm up with you. You were saying that you feel that the FCC is culpable or responsible, and how does that tie into what happens with the towers?
Well, of course, we know you have to have towers to have the transmissions. You've got to have that equipment. But what I found the most fascinating in my research was the Nextel licenses. Now, Nextel's been out of business for a very long time. The FCC did a swipe of their licenses, 56,770 Nextel licenses, and the FCC claimed all that for law enforcement, emergency vehicles, 9/11, things like that. But when you do the research at the FCC website, you find 3 Nextel licenses that's been dead for like 16 years, 17 years, but yet they show up 5 days a week, and I've sent letters to the FCC wanting to know why, and I never get a response back. But just the fact that those licenses are being posted says that the FCC is posting fraudulent information. There's also 3 more licenses that show up. One of them shows up effective 6 days a week, and this is been going on for years. So my question to the FCC was, how in the world does a license become effective 6 days a week? And then if you research those licenses a little further, you'll see that these licenses at maybe a ham radio turns into an industrial pool, or things that it just takes that license totally out of its class. And then as I continued my research, I found that the FCC was placing licenses in every county, especially here in the state of Texas, because that's what I police. And the state of Texas has like 248 counties, and you've got licenses that are geographically locked to a certain location, but yet they're in all 240-something counties in the state of Texas, which I found fascinating, so I started documenting that. And what I do now is I try to train people on how to do their own policing for their own state, so that when and if the class action lawsuit is filed against the FCC, then everybody will have the documentation that I have. Maybe not as much of it, but you'll still be able to prove that there are discrepancies and anomalies that are going on in your state. And it's very important that you accumulate this information now, because we all know things are changing behind the scenes. We know something's going on, and there's going to come a time when the FCC is going to clean up their act, and then it's going to be too late to get that information.
Absolutely. Yes, so it's for the FCC lawsuit, but it's also for whenever you have your day in court. Because when you have your day in court, you're going to need your medical information, all the scans and the things about with your body, but the FCC licenses and show the frequencies that are that enter your home or that are around you. So am I understanding that correctly? Okay. So that is why it's go ahead. You can explain it better.
Well, another thing that's important is I've been told, now I haven't went and looked up the laws, but I have been told that we will be able to sue the licenses that are showing up on the FCC data sheet that is being taken out of their geographic location. And that's because you're supposed to police your license. And if you don't police them, so if AT&T is not policing their license and AT&T is showing up outside their boundaries, then you've got the evidence to go after AT&T. Or you've got the evidence to go after whatever police department or whatever sheriff's department or whatever city, county. You know, if it's not where it's supposed to be, then I've been told that you can sue those entities.
And
so it's very important.
Go ahead.
Well, it's just very important that people who want to prove what they're saying accumulate the information now before it's too late. And that's one reason why I'm so excited that we're going to get to do the third class and help people understand. And they'll be able to navigate and do exactly what I do.
Okay. All right. So we'll work on that. Yes, ma'am. So every TI is working on I know you all are keeping journals, photos, videos, and in different places. And you also should be getting your medical information done. Find out what's going on inside your body today, and then hopefully you have it from 6 months prior, and then today, and then right before the lawsuit, so you can show what's happening with your body. So the FCC will show the frequencies around you and in your home and so forth. Is there anything else that people need to get in reference to that? And then I want to ask you a little bit about FOIAs, because I know you worked on a template for us.
Yes. I just want to encourage everybody to get the documentation, because that's a paper trail, and it shows a pattern that the FCC is corrupt in their, or should I say deceptive, in their business practice. Their mission statement says they're to protect us from these frequencies, and yet they're allowing frequencies to be used on us. And in order to prove what you're saying in court, you're going to need that paper trail. You're going to need to show that pattern. And you do that, and, it's kind of like a hands-down situation. You don't have to worry about winning or losing at that point, because you've got all your evidence, all your documentation. Not only did you prove your damage, but now you're proving that somebody is responsible for that damage. Anna Toledo is trying to prove that the FBI is responsible for our damage because they put us in the TSDB. And what I try to do is I try to prove that the FCC is part of the crime. They turn a blind eye to what is happening, and they participate. Who can post dead licenses? The FCC, because Nextel's not doing it. So just those 3 licenses alone proves that the FCC is very much involved in this crime that's being perpetrated against us.
Yes, because they can only function with these licenses. You need a license to run your cell towers, to do communications. Everything boils down to having a license. So
yes.
Okay. All right. So very well. And I wanted you to mention a little bit about your FOIAs. I've heard of some successful FOIAs, particularly there's a woman in Australia. She came on a while ago, Helen, and she did some cease and desist and some FOIAs, and she's getting good results from her neighbors to I don't know if it was planes or something, but she's really getting great results. And I know you have been getting responses. And remember, if it's not a favorable response, sometimes you don't get exactly what you want, but just having a response when you get your day in court is impactful. So you get them, you hold them, you document them, you send them out again. But we're working on, or Betty Doo has been working on a template for us that we can use so that we can just send out for FOIA. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. I love sending out my FOIAs because it's kind of like my way of punching them right in the breadbasket. With my FOIAs, I'm tracking down the weapons because we also need to know who has these weapons. You know, to say that we're on a TSDB and the FCC is part of it and the CIA, you know, has a very long history of murdering Americans is one thing, but finding out where those weapons are. So what I do is I send FOIAs to my sheriff's department, to the police departments, and I just don't stick in my county. I mean, I've been attacked all over the state of Texas, Florida, every state I've been in, I've been attacked. So I'm now sending out FOIAs to each and every one of them, and I feel like I'm getting some good response because when you want to charge me $3,000 for 150 pages, you know, you got to sit back and go, ooh, I got you, okay. And then if you don't give me, like if you don't respond to my FOIA, then I file a complaint on you at the Attorney General's office. And I also want everybody to understand, because this is very important, the Attorney General is not your friend. If these people go to court, the Attorney General will be the one who represents them. So when you're dealing with the Attorney General, you only want to stick to your FOIA. You don't want to tell them a story. You don't want to, you know, say I'm a victim of. You don't want them to know nothing other than your FOIA did not get fulfilled. They overcharged you, things like that. But the one that wants to charge me $3,000, they admitted they had weapons. So they're trying to keep me from the information by making it so expensive that you can't afford to pay for it. And I think that says a lot right there. Polk County, Florida, Sheriff Grady, he doesn't even follow the FOIA laws. He quoted laws from a different section thinking that I didn't understand the FOIA and how it worked. So anyway, I'm now filing a complaint with the Attorney General's office in Florida against Sheriff Grady, and he's the sheriff of Polk County. And then I'll be doing Hernando County because I lived in both of those counties. So, yeah, I love FOIAs. I love FOIAs just because I can picture them when they're reading it going, she's wanting what? She wants to know if we have age of denial, LRAD, Stingray technology. What's wrong with this woman? I mean, I can picture it in my brain. It's just, I get a kick out of it, and I enjoy doing it. And I like harassing them as much as they harass me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. So we look forward to your template and your FOIA template so that everybody can use it to, you know, send out FOIAs in their areas and so forth. We're going to open up in a minute for Q&A. Anybody have any questions for you or want to make any comments and anything about any of the news you've heard here tonight or the lawsuit? So we have a few people in queue already, so we're going to start taking questions. Did you want to end with any final comments, Betty?
Just that this is really important, and if you really want to put a stop to your crime, replicate what I do with the FCC and replicate what I do with the FOIAs, and you will be amazed at how much it will improve your life.
Okay.
And
all right.
Thank you, GoGi, for having me on the call. I love it. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure with you. All right, guys. So let's take the first question. First caller, please. Hi. We can hear you. Hello.
Hi, Deacon. Are you there, Deacon? Shall we go to the next question, Gaji?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hi, GoGi's. This is Diane. I'm a TI. I don't know if I ever been on one of your calls before. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think you have. I think I remember your voice. But go ahead, ma'am. Welcome.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Your program is very informative. I'm like the lady that says she has about enough buzz on her, like a rabbit, here in Buffalo, New York. Okay.
Oh, you're from Buffalo.
And yes, and they just pass as I'm sitting on the porch. They're always passing by because they always know what I'm doing. The police cars. It's like every day, all day. Cop cars, fire department, whatever. It's like every day. I can't step out without them on my tail, really. And like I said, I stood in front of the FBI office today, and I called them on my cell phone, and I said, yes, I'd like to know, am I on the targeted list? And he said, what? Well, I can't answer that question. I'm going to give you somebody. But I was walking. I was tired because I'm getting burnt every day. I'm like skinny as a rail because they're burning me with this microwave so hard. But the whole point is I just hung up because I had some other things to do. And they had took too long answering, and I didn't know if they would answer me my question. But like I said, I appreciate. As soon as I got on your call tonight, as I was listening, and you said that, I said, oh wow, all this we're going to need warfare prayers, and then you said it at the middle of the conversation. You said if anybody can pray and they need warfare prayers, I'm definitely going to be on some warfare prayers for this because I want to know how my name got put on that list. Like I said, I was married into a police family. I was divorced, and I don't know what happened. I could be something like the lady in Texas because because of that reason, I believe I was put to this list, but by being involved with that family.
Wow.
Like I said, they turned everybody in my family against me. It's just like I'm going to be doing some warfare prayers so I can find out who put my name on this list, and I hope the Lord gives me my health and strength back so I'll be ready to confront them when if it ever does open up.
Yes, it will. It will. Keep the faith. God bless you. And, yes, you're very similar to Betty Doo because Betty Doo, one thing she told us the first time, her and her husband were well-known, well-liked in the community, a small town. And then she, when they went through the divorce, everybody continued to embrace him and isolate her. And just like you said, you married into a police family. Most likely that is how you got on the list. And they embraced him, isolated you, and got your family to isolate you. So God bless you. My heart goes out to you. Please know that there are people up there. Sister Sonia is also up there in Buffalo near Niagara Falls, so you may want to reach out to her. She has a call Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Okay, great. She has a call Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. You can look it up on tievents.org, and she would be a good companion for you.
Yes, she is. I really appreciate her.
Yes, and we'll continue to pray for the lawsuit. We'll pray for you as well, and keep the faith hanging there. Things are happening every day behind the scenes, and it's going to be exposed. What happens in the dark will come to light. Yes, me too.
I believe you. And I also have a son. He's B2K, so maybe I will join that group.
Oh, that'll be great. Yes. Okay. Send my email is the Justice Action Meeting at proton.me. So you can send me an email and I'll connect you. the Justice Action meeting at proton.me.
Okay, I will go.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Diane. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
Hi.
Next call, please. Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. This is Jennifer.
Hi.
I have a question.
Hi.
When we are FOIA-ing our local sheriff's department and things like that about these weapons, I have already done that with my local sheriff's department, and all I knew was to put, I on my FOIA, I asked for any, if they had any donations from military weapons or whatever. And all I said was military weapons because I'm not familiar with like what they're called or what exactly we need to be asking for. And they wrote back saying there was no such thing. They don't get any kind of weapons from military. But I feel like maybe I need to ask a different way, like maybe including the name, ask the name of the weapon. You know what I'm saying? Is there any way you can post in the J.A.M note what the weapons are that we need to be asking about, FOIAing about?
Okay, thank you. Great question, Jennifer. Betty do has a template. Betty, on your template, do you have the names of the weapons, or do you call them direct? What do you call them? Or is that
I asked them if they have any crowd control, no-touch weapons. I asked if they have the active denial, the LRAD, the Stingray technology, the cell site simulators, or any kind of technology that uses electrical power or chemicals as a projectile.
Okay. Can you post all those different things in the chat maybe? Can you write them out so I can get them all? Because it's kind of a lot.
Okay, it's not going to be in the chat, but we'll put them in post J.A.M notes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we'll put them in post J.A.M notes and or the toolkit on TI event. Okay, but I'll try to put it in the post J.A.M notes. Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay.
Thank you, Betty too. All right, next caller, please.
Hi, GoGi.
Hi, how are you?
Well, I'm hanging in there. I've never heard of a FOIA. What does FOIA stand for?
Okay, FOIA stands for Freedom of Information Act.
Okay.
And all government agencies are required to respond in, is it 20 days, Betty Do?
Actually, it's 10 days. They have 10 days to respond. If they don't respond within that 10 days, then you should be filing a complaint with your Attorney General.
Okay. All right. And how do you, Freedom of Information Act.
So it's FOIA.
Do you, Betty, do you ask them flat out if they are using directed energy weapons, or do you just list them out? I mean, how do you handle that?
Well, I already know they're using it. Now I just want to see if they're going to tell me the truth.
Right. Well, yeah. So they're part of the crime then.
Well, yeah. The sheriff's department is the first. I mean, the people that I couldn't be around. I complained that they were shooting me with something that I couldn't see, but it was altering my personality and damaging my health. But I name them out, but I also say not limited to, and I also put in electrical or chemical because that's how some of these weapons are charged. So I always make sure that they understand what kind of projectile I'm looking for, because I'm not looking for a bullet. I mean, if you shoot me with a bullet, I'm going to bleed. You shoot me with frequency, and I'm going to go berserk. So there's a big difference in the weapons.
Yeah. So I guess, is there something called frequency weapons? I mean, is that listed anywhere? That
those are going to be called directed energy weapons.
Yeah, that's
also
right.
Yes, and I also list the active denial.
List active denial. Yeah. Okay, and that's if you don't hear from them in 10 days?
They've got 10 days. If they don't respond within 10 days, they're in violation of the law.
Okay. Well, that's good news. Okay, thanks and good luck.
Hey, I love it. I actually love getting the responses back. I mean, Polk County, they pretty much told me they have the weapons by trying to mislead me in, how the law works. So if you read between the lines, a no doesn't necessarily, or a negative response does not necessarily mean they don't have the weapons. I take it as you're covering up the fact that you don't have those weapons. So even if it's negative, it's still a positive.
Right. Wow.
Okay. Thank you, caller. I hope that answered your question. We're going to move on. Next caller, please. Thank you.
Hi, Betty. You're inspirational. This is Helen from Australia. And Gogi mentioned a few minutes ago that I had some successes by copying the templates that you prepared over in the States, and I adapted as well as I could to my local conditions here. I just wanted to say, for motivational purposes, to anyone who's listening out there, Gogi said that the gang stalking stopped from my neighbours. It did, and I haven't had the drones and the helicopters going over. That's true. And also, I'm able to sleep at night without hot water bottles on my head. So, because they were, that hasn't been the primary way they've been attacking me with the energy weapons, but I have had a good taste of it. I know what it's like, and they're not doing that. So everybody writing letters, FOIA and the rest of it has worked well for me. It hasn't solved all of my problems because they are criminals and they do find underhanded ways of doing things. But yeah, I think what Betty's doing is fantastic. And I would just like to say to Betty, is there any way I can keep in touch with you so that you can help me along a little bit? I have tried some preliminary moves and looked at websites here in Australia to mimic what you're doing, and I haven't written any letters to the telecommunications yet. I was just looking at it in the last week actually, but I'm not quite sure how to go about it. And the way you're doing things is very inspirational, and I was just wondering if you could guide me through a few things, because you've brought up a lot of good points that I wasn't aware of today. Like even asking about the different kinds of weapons that I wouldn't have thought how to ask those questions. Crowd control, no-touch weapons. I've made some notes, but yeah, I'm at the beginning. And to help guide the other TIs here. Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so this is what I'll say to that. So, Helen, send me an email, and I'll respond with Betty Du's email address. Are you able to make regular phone calls? Because I know you're from Australia. Are you able to make? Is it easy to call?
No, but I could open up my link on the call here, on the free conference call, and talk there.
Well, no, I think she's on regular phone. So let's start by emailing, okay? So if you email me to the Justice Action Meeting at proton.me, I know we have each other's email, then I'll respond with Betty Du's email, and then you all can communicate.
Okay. Thank you, Gogi.
And all right, and I would love to know when you send your email how you got the helicopters and drones to stop. I just had a low plane at 8:49 p.m. while we were talking. So, yeah, and that's too late for them to be flying this low in this area. There should be no flight pattern over here. So I would love to know about that. And I know you said helicopters and drones. Okay?
Betty, you're a champion. So are you, Gogi.
Thank you, and you as well. Thank you. Her favorite song, by the way, Betty's favorite song is Helen Reddy's song. I wish I could play it tonight, but maybe we'll play it one night to honor you, Betty. Betty do. Okay. All right. Next caller, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Hey, this is Tammy. I have a quick question. Hey, I have a quick question for Betty. Betty, when you were sending out these, what do you call them again, the FOIAs?
Mm-hmm.
When you were sending those out to your police department and your other governmental agencies, did you ever get a positive response saying, yes, I do have these weapons? Or did you just not get any kind of positive input on that and you had to file?
No. The one that wants to charge me $3,000 for the paperwork, they admitted they had the weapons, and they also said that they may have to ask for an attorney general's opinion on whether they could release that information. Polk County told me that they couldn't tell me what was in their arsenal because that could be, it might be confidential. If you read between their lines, it tells you so much than their words do. So, I've gotten responses in a favorable manner, but they just don't want to give you the information. They want the Attorney General to give them an opinion on whether they can release that information, or they want to quote laws from a different statute that has nothing to do with FOIAs to keep you from getting that information. They have their little ways of manipulating is what I call it. But, I love it because you're getting to them while they're getting to you, and you're fighting back.
That's exciting. That's what I like, girl. That's exciting. We have been through so much, haven't we? It's their time. Well, I was just wondering because if they're saying that we can't give you this information yet because we need to check with the Attorney General, what is that, kind of like when you're in court and they just keep throwing paperwork at you, or is there a way we can get around that and actually get that information?
There is certain information that you cannot get through a FOIA, like an ongoing case, or if something is like dealing with a minor. There will be some reasons why they won't give you the information, but that's already spelled out in the law. So when you present them with a FOIA and they don't want to give you their information, then it's kind of like their retaliation is, I'll send this to the Attorney General. That'll take another couple of weeks, and we'll wait and see what he says. But, when they're asking the Attorney General for an opinion on if they can release information, that pretty much tells you they got the weapons. They got them.
Yes,
And what I try to do is I try to locate who's got those weapons, because my targeting comes from local people. It comes from, the cops, and I got a couple of neighbors who associate with the cops, and so, of course, when they pass my house, they hurt my body. But right now, if we're going to go to court, we need to find out where those weapons are, because whoever's got those weapons, that's who we sue too. We sue them all.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And one more question, Betty. So does it seem like any of your attacks have gotten lesser since you're bringing it to their attention that you're on to them and you know who they are, and now you're starting to do some investigating research on your own? Have you seen any lightness in these attacks, or is it about the same?
Well, my targeting's been going away since 2019 when I got my congressman to put in a congressional inquiry into things.
Wow.
So, but I can tell you that Saturday night when I went to bed, I always unplug my Wi-Fi because I try to eliminate as much frequency in my house. And when I woke up Sunday morning, somebody had come into my home and cut the wires to my modem, and I just got my internet service back yesterday, and the technician verified that that was a clean cut. It was not chewed or anything like that. So I told him, I said, well, I need that part of the cord because that's evidence that somebody did come into my house, and they did sabotage my laptop.
That is so scary. Oh, my God. Well, Betty, thank you so much. I don't want to take all your time. This is my first time hearing of you, and I'm so excited. You're amazing, and thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, you're quite welcome, and thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
All right. Next caller, please. Thank you, Tammy.
Hi, Gaji.
Hi,
this is
how are you?
Betty Doo. This is Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Betty Doo was helping us in a class, I believe it was, several months ago, or maybe it was last year. I can't remember. Anyway, my brain is fried. I have not had any sleep in over 20 hours, so I laid down and I went to sleep just that quick, but then I woke up on the end of things. So I really don't know what's going on, but I came on the end when Betty was saying, do these 4 years. And I also heard you say something about the Attorney General. I have written to the Attorney General. I got absolutely no response. I myself had called, and another person was on the line with me and tried to get through. There was absolutely no help at all. I did a FOIA to the FBI. It really scared me because it came back, I think, within 3 days. But it came back saying that you need to be more thorough or more detailed. I didn't get that, but, it just didn't make sense why I had to be even more thorough than I already was. I don't know if that was just
You have to ask for what you want. You have to give them an open date and a close date. And if you don't do it just right, then, they'll kick it back on you. So that's probably why that happened.
So, and the other thing is I not long ago had posted something on Facebook I reposted rather that someone else had posted, and it was in regards to helicopters beaming down on cars, and so I reposted that. Do you all know the next day I had a helicopter appear over the power lines of my street? They zoomed in real quick and zoomed out just as quick as they came in. And that was the freakiest thing. I've been having drones that have come through the backyard with the brightest lights. My thing is, you were talking about all of these targeting instruments. What about these drones? Because they hide behind the trees last night. I was doing some videotaping because they post themselves right at my bedroom window. And I know it's way too much information for some of you, but I like to lay in my bed just as clean as I can be, no clothes nowhere. And they're, and I happen to look up, and they're over my window looking at me, and this is nightly. I mean,
Lauren,
this is my private domain. They're doing too much.
It's okay, baby. I sleep in my birthday suit, too, so you're good.
That's hard. That part.
I didn't know where you were going with this, Lauren. You're a mess.
I didn't want to feed too much at one time because some people might not be able to handle it,
Yeah,
but
it's an adult call. But okay, so the thing is that with that being the case, we don't know then that was from the program or just someone that knows you do that. But I'm teasing. The bottom line, these drones. I think it's important to document the time, the direction they're going, take videos, take pictures, because at the end of the day, when we find out exactly, and it's not on us, we're victims to know exactly what they're doing, how they're doing it. We're talking from our experience and what it seems to be from us, because some of it is psyop, but some of it is technologically and can be proven to be true. But whatever they use those drones for, whether it's to spy on you in your birthday suit, whether it's to gather information. Maybe you're on your phone and they're trying to check out your phone or trying to get into something or trying to do something with the appliance, or they're trying to make sure that the dew is whatever, or helping the cell towers, or just psyops, whatever it is. At the end of the day, when they start unraveling the layers of this onion and they start peeling back and get into what the drones part is in there and the evidence that you have, if they say you're going to be paid $15 every time you see the drone, then or your documentation will stand. If they say the drones were doing A, B, C, and D, and you say, okay, I saw one this day, that day, the other day, that's why you collect that evidence and that information.
Well, I'm seeing every day, all day, every day. I mean, I'm not but a few blocks away from the airport. That could be their excuse. But the one thing that I have noted is if I am watching, just so happen to look up at the sky and know that they're watching me because they haven't moved. These are not stars. Stars do not fly. Then pick up my phone and start videotaping. It's like they're cranking up the car and they're moving. They're getting on out the way because they know that I'm getting my phone out to video, and I have so much footage of drones. It's unreal. But it's just because they would say, okay, well we're at an airport, so that's probably within the area that they're supposed to be in. And I was told by Amy Holem, you all know, that they're not supposed to be but so many feet away from you all, away from your home. And when I tell you they have flown over my backyard and posted themselves over my house, this is every night. But they will get bold enough to put on the brightest light, and it's like, aha, we caught you off guard again, because they know if they had done that any other time, I would have gotten that on video. But they come in so quick and they're out the way so fast, it doesn't give me a chance to videotape that. And that's another thing that's odd, because they shouldn't be coming across my house that close, Right. But Betty, I would really, again, we started working together on the FOIAs, but it's some other things I would really like for you to work with me on. This smart meter, and I won't get off from here, but yesterday I had to call my Duke Energy company because I had sent, and you all remember this, I sent a letter into them so many months ago. They never responded. The letter was sent in certified. So in the meantime, I'm getting burned up like everybody else with this meter. So she's like, well, there's only 2 meters that we have now. Now, the analog meter is the one that they originally had. You all will remember that. That's the old original meter. The other one is the smart meter. But when I talked to her yesterday, she was like, we're no longer using the analog meter. Okay, so what you're going to do is, at my request, hopefully, get the smart meter out and put another smart meter in, because basically that's all it's going to be. They're using this meter to attack me. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Lauren, I think you have my phone number, don't you?
I did have, Betty, but I'm not sure if I still do. Let me look real quick.
Well, GoGi's got it. Yeah, and another thing with the drones, if you have a camera, a handheld camera where you can zoom in, get the bottom of that drone, because you'll get a lot of information off of it. I don't think you can do it on the cell phone because it doesn't have the power that a regular camera has.
No, but these are military drones, Betty. They look like little helicopters.
Yeah, but they'll have information on the bottom of that drone. A girlfriend who's a TI, she's plagued with drones. She taught me that. I don't get drones, but she started videotaping the drones to prove to me that, she was being bombarded with them. And what I started noticing was when she's taping these drones, if she gets the very bottom of that drone, you get information off of those drones. You find out a lot about who owns it and everything else. So,
not with this smart dumb camera I have that they just recently sold me. You're talking about a handheld camera, or you talking about the one that's on your phone?
No, it's got to be a handheld camera that zooms in really good.
Okay, well, I haven't tried that.
Yeah, they're really expensive. And even a cheap camera that zooms in really good might work. But anyway, I was flabbergasted when I started seeing the emblems and things on the bottom of that drone. I was like, oh, my God. This is information.
That's great. And
yeah.
there are apps, and we have somebody coming back with some apps. So there are apps that will help as well that are very informative. They will even follow the flying, whatever's flying, drone, helicopter, plane, whatever it is, back to the hangar. So we have to revisit some of that. But I'm gonna move on. So I'm gonna make sure you have her number, Lauren, or I'll send it to you. Okay.
Okay. Let me just ask her. Does it start with 409?
Yes.
Okay. I think I have it then.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
You're
right,
welcome, baby.
All right. Next caller, please. And there are no repeat calls. I think somebody's jumping back in. Can't do it tonight. All right, let's go. Let's move the line, please. Move the queue.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, GoGi. It's Michelle. How you doing?
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Hi. It was ironic because when I came in, I'm kind of keeping track of the patterns of the day. And when I come in, lately, they had stopped for a while, but lately there are cars outside. And they have lights, and I know that they're contractors. And I know that there are other people in the neighborhood being hurt as well. And I know these contractors are not just for me and my mother. I know that they drive around and they're for other people. Last night, I caught the license plate, and one was from Virginia, and the other one was from New York. And I got the guys' faces. One was an Asian guy, one was a black guy. And tonight, the same thing. Not the same people, but the cars. I come in unaccessorized, and then when I get to the block, the bright lights go on. Then when I get out the car, sometimes they turn the lights off, and then sometimes they drive past the accessorized, and that's when I'm able to get a picture of them. But I wanted to kind of know the format of the FOIA, and how would I run their license plates?
Okay, so a few things. One, documenting the pictures are good. Documenting the time, and just like you said, a description of them, their license plate, and all that is really good. We just hold that information. It's a little difficult. I'm not sure if there are apps or if you know somebody that runs plates, but that is from my understanding now. Maybe someone knows something that I don't know, but it's a little difficult to run the plate. So the main thing that I noticed, and you already said it, is to make sure you know the state as well as the plate. And also if it's a white paper, like a temporary, note that, because sometimes they hide behind temporary license plates, which are still, there still should be a record of that temporary plate. So we just holding that information in a journal. I don't know how actionable it is, like immediately, but it will certainly pan out in the end. It'll be valuable in the end. All right.
And I have one more question.
FOIA template. Betty's going to share that. She's going to share her template either in a class, or we'll share it on TIE event. So let me figure that out on the J.A.M notes.
Well, writing a FOIA is really easy. I mean, you just quote your laws, you tell them who you are, you're telling them what you're requesting, you give an open and close date. You may want to go back 10 years, you may want to go back 2 years, it just depends. And then you send it to the Freedom of Information Officer and to whatever government entity that you're requesting the information from. And you don't, and sometimes they want you to use their portal, and I don't. I will not use their portal. So they have to also provide you with an email address that isn't associated with that portal, so that you can just, send it to them like you would to a normal person. And I do apologize, GoGi. I had another phone call coming in, and I had to take it. I apologize.
Okay. No problem. It's okay. Thank you. Okay.
Could I FOIA certain license plates?
No. No. FOIA, you can FOIA the government for information, but not license plates like that. No. Not that I know.
If you're wanting to research a license plate, you just contact a private investigator and give him the number and find out how much he'll charge to run the plate for you. If it's license plates you're interested in.
The thing about it is when I first saw cars following me around in New York, I called the police and I had a list. And what he looked for was to see if there was any license plate that was more than one. But and that was not the case, because what they do is, now if it was something like that, if someone's following you or it's one person or something like that, they could do something. But because it's random people, random plates, which is the is what the program is built on, making sure that there's nothing actionable. So it's it's just like it's holding that information, so when you get your day in court that you'll have it, and whatever it's worth is what it'll be worth, and whatever the lawyers can prove or work with, they'll work with. So yeah, it's hard to have immediately actionable things because the program is crafty, and they know that that's what you're going to that some people will try to do that, so they try to make sure that doesn't happen. That's why we celebrate the people who have been able to win lawsuits, and there are more than we know, because many are settled with gag orders, but but the ones that we do know about are few. We can count on one hand. So okay, we're going to move on because I think it's getting late, and so I'm going to find out how many in queue and start pushing ahead, because I know it's after 11, and I know that everybody has, or many people have to go to work tomorrow with both eyes open.
Thank you. I would look forward to us doing together a couple of FOIAs. Together, that would be great.
Okay, we'll try to work on a class for FOIAs. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Betty Doo. Let me check the line. Let's see if we can move this along. I'm going to try to clear it, but I'm not sure if we will be able to. Go ahead.
Hi, Barbara from San Diego. Quick question.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi there. How can we participate in one of Betty's forthcoming classes?
Okay. So send me, very good question. Thank you. Send an email to the Justice Action Meeting at proton.me. Put Betty Doo, D-O-O, in the subject area, and I will put your information in here. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next caller, please.
Hello,
next caller. Hi, we can hear you now.
Hi, this is Dana. I just wanted to answer Lauren's question. Whenever you say something or someone else says something, like you said about the drone or the helicopter, if you mention helicopter the next day, yeah, they will come. That's just like if I say something about police, that followed me, or if I called the police and they told me I was delusional, the next day I'll see the state police or whatever police around me somewhere. That's things that they do, part of targeting. And a lot of people get drone stalked, a lot of people get airplane stalked, and a lot of people get people stalked. So I guess it depends on your program. And to Michelle,
you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
to
Jane.
Michelle, they change license plates all the time. I will put it down, but it could be a rental car because they rent a lot of cars. And they also use, rent dealer cars. And they may get a different car from the dealer, so they change plates all the time.
They sure do. But you know what? Every plate they have a record of it. So
Yeah,
it's
do.
traceable.
Yep.
It's traceable, but maybe not that moment, but it is certainly traceable because they're supposed to have a record of it.
Right. And when I called the state police, they told me I was delusional and I need to seek mental help, and they hung up on me. When I called the Fusion Center, I asked them if I was on the list, and they told me to call the state police.
Okay.
No
All right.
problem.
All right. Thank you, Dana, for sharing. Thank you so much. Okay?
No problem.
All right. Okay. Someone is complaining about not taking duplicate questions. I don't understand why. When you get in line, please know exactly what you're going to ask, and please don't expect to get back in line because we're here to service everybody. All right? And my goal now is to answer as many questions as possible and not keep us on the phone all night. All right. So let's go. Next caller, please.
Hi, GoGi. It's Carolyn from Australia. I'm just wondering if you can hear me.
I can. How are you? All the way from Australia.
I'm good. Thank you. Good. I was just listening to the conversation on freedom of information requests. I've been doing quite a bit of that, and I actually offered Helene if I can help anybody in Australia with putting those together. I've worked for government, and I've dealt with government in my roles and administering legislation, so I can bring those skills to it. And I've been able to gather a lot of information about my personal situation through the FOI process, including determining the agency who has information on me. So that is the Australian Criminal Intelligence Commission. It appears from my finding that they are the ones who are holding, targeting us, have the information on us and undertaking their methodologies. So, I can help in putting those together, putting a template together. I think kind of staying respectful and not making any demands, at least in Australia, that works for government, and just being really polite and professional and just stating exactly what you want. And I hear what Betty said about identifying dates and just listing the things that you want to know. I've been basing mine on personal information, what personal information they have about me. What I've found is they will call, in Australia at least, the agency will get in contact and ask for more information if they don't have enough. And under legislation in both Queensland, where I am, and our Commonwealth legislation, there is a requirement to consult. So if they are going to refuse information, they need to give you the opportunity to rewrite your request. So I'm going through asking for a review. In Australia, our Office of Information Commissioner administers the FOI Act, So they just look at reviews and any questions that you have as the intermediary for the agency. But you must go through the agency itself for an FOI request. So I've learned a lot about the FOI Act. So if I can assist, I can put together something, or I can actually speak to people individually about reviewing their the decisions that they receive.
Okay, are you willing to help U.S. or Australia?
Well, anyone, but it's Australia that I know about. That's the only thing. It may be a little bit different in the States.
Right, I see. And are you in touch with Helen, or else I will get you in touch with her?
I have been in contact with Helen, and I've let her know that just what I said there, that I can help, and I've got an idea of the structure in Australia.
Okay, great. Okay, so you're making an announcement, and then anyone from Australia can also contact you, and you've been in touch with Helen, so that is great. Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you, and thank you for what you're doing. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
And if anybody, let me just say that if anyone from Australia that wants to reach out to Carol, please send me an email at the Justice Action Meeting at proton.me. And that means, Carol, you please send me an email at the Justice Action Meeting at proton.me, and I'll connect you with anyone who responds.
Okay, so it's Justice Action Meeting.
Yes, the Justice Action Meeting, the J.A.M, the Justice Action Meeting at proton.me.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, Gogi.
Right. Thank you, and thank you for what you're doing. Okay. All right.
Bye.
All right, bye. Good night.
Good night.
Yes, we made it through, guys. We made it through. It's always our goal to try to serve everybody so that everybody can ask at least one question. And we want to just open up and say good night. Let me just, we're going to play announcements first, and then we're going to open up and say good night. We do have a lot of homework to do, so we can talk about FOIAs and everything. I want to thank everybody who presented on the call tonight. Sir Dan, Lady T, thank you for your help. Major P, Liliana, thank you. Sir Chase, I heard you saying hello. I'm sorry I read your part. Betty Dew, thank you for being our special guest tonight. And as you see, you are always asked back. So we must have you again. And, of course, we can't do this without my help, Tranquility. Thank you so much. And we're going to listen to announcements. I hope I didn't forget anybody. Lady T, Major P, I think I mentioned to everybody. If I forgot you, it's not. You please attribute it to my head. Okay. And so, announcements, please.
Good evening, everyone. Please take a moment to peek at your screens. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is Tranquility from TIEvents.org, and on behalf of GoGi's Justice, I'm excited to share some important events and updates for this week and beyond. Kicking off our announcements, next Tuesday on the J.A.M, we have the honor of welcoming a distinguished guest, our angel, the esteemed attorney Anna Toledo from Targeted Justice. This will be an event graced with her wisdom and dedication that you simply cannot afford to miss. On Wednesday, July 31st, Refuge from the Storm Church presents a community-wide prayer for justice call and memorial service for Dr. Robert Duncan. This event will be held on Zoom starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Remember, this call happens every fifth Wednesday, and everyone is welcome to join. Minister Jerome's call now has new hours. To find out the updated schedule, please visit TIEvents.org. The call is titled Royal Priesthood Power of 30 and takes place weekdays at 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern. Looking ahead, the 2024 Democratic National Convention will be held in Chicago, Illinois from August 19th to 22nd. Ann Baker is organizing a group of TIs to attend, and if you're interested in joining, visit the Havana Syndrome Task Force Rally tab at TIEvents.org for more details. Mark your calendars for the Targeted Action 2024 rally in Colorado Springs from August 28th through 30th, hosted by Targeted Justice. This promises to be the largest TI awareness event ever, with over 200 attendees already signed up. Key speakers include Sarah Westall, Dr. Lynn Baer, Attorney Anna Toledo, Richard Lighthouse, Dr. Sally Priester, GoGi's Justice, Craig LaForest, and other esteemed members of the TI community. For event details, registration, and hotel accommodations, visit the Targeted Action 2024 tab at targetedjustice.com or tievents.org. Don't forget to check out our rideshare board on tievents.org to coordinate your travel. If you've registered for the rally but you have not yet paid, look out for an email with a link to complete your payment. Curious about whether you're a targeted individual? GoGi's book, GoGi's 10 Signs Which Indicate You're a Targeted Individual, is available on Amazon and the Targeted Justice Etsy shop. This book is a great resource to help you understand if you're targeted and to explain our experiences to others. Stay updated with Targeted Justice by following them on Rumble. Simply type Real Targeted Justice in the search bar and hit follow for exclusive content on legal discussions, personal interviews, and community updates. And don't forget to keep up with GoGi's Justice. Follow her on TikTok for the latest updates. Though she hasn't been as active on TikTok lately, she'll be back soon, so make sure to follow her there. Also subscribe to her YouTube channel, GoGi's After Dinner Jam, where you can catch replays of all her shows and stay informed about important events and topics. It's a great way to catch up on anything you might have missed or want to revisit. Lastly, stay tuned for the Summer Jam Voices Shindig. More details coming soon. Before I go, GoGi wanted me to remind you to preserve and protect yourselves and pray for us all. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you all at these events.
All right. Thank you so much, Tranquility, for that. Thank you for the announcement. Thank you once again, Betty Dew, and everyone that participated. Thank you for all the callers, and we're going to open up to say good night, guys. I hope you enjoyed the jam.
Betty Dew. Everything was wonderful. Real good
Thank
show
you.
tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Good night. Good night. Have a good night. Thank you all for being here.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Good night, ma'am.
Everyone.
Good night. God bless.
Good night, everyone. God bless. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
Blessings.
Good night. Blessings, everybody. Glad you all can make it in. Keep pushing past your pain, guys.
Thank you so much.
We're almost there.
Thank you,
My pleasure.
GoGi, and thank you, Emma. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
Yeah, keep your
head up.
Yes, we're almost there, guys. We're making it through. We're making it to the finish line.
Yes. No weapon formed against us will prosper.
Amen.
No weapon.
Keep pushing. Thank you, God.